Hello everyone, today I'm going to review for you Dying Message. This is a brand new game from Oink Games where someone's been murdered. And, well, everyone around the table gets a turn at being murdered, and hopefully they will send their dying message to the detectives to be able to work out who did it. I'm going to go over roughly how the game plays, though there are a few different modes you can play it in, and just so you're aware, this was provided to me for the review. So each round, one player is murdered, and they're going to be using up to 15 message cards to subtly hint towards who did it, out of 6 suspects. To determine who did the murder, you're going to roll the dice and hide it under the box, with only you being able to see who it is from A to F. Then everyone around the table is going to give you a minute or two to determine your message, placing the message cards out, which are these white cards with red splashes on them. You're going to use the symbols available to you or combine them in creative ways to create your message. Though you can't just sort of make an arrow and point towards a character or even like say try and spell out their name, you otherwise have quite a lot of creative freedom to try and make a shape or whatever out of the different message cards. Depending on the game mode that you're playing, because there is a competitive and a cooperative mode, you are going to be working together to determine who you think did it or pointing towards who you think did it. In the cooperative side of things, you are hopefully going to talk it out, not for too long, and determine hopefully the correct person, and the murder victim is then going to hopefully find peace. You've got it correct, or you didn't get it correct and they're a bit of a lost hope. There are points available, and depending on the mode, you score them in slightly different ways. You're either going to be, in the cooperative one, getting it for like the best clue, or the one that you didn't get right but you just thought was the best sort of message sent, that sort of thing on the co-op side. And on the competitive side, the victim is going to get points if not everyone got it right, and then got it per player that got it right, and then the other players, again, if not everyone got it right, the people that did get it right will get points. So in those modes, everyone is going to get the chance to be the victim, hopefully scoring points along the way, or you're just sort of doing it at the end to be, yeah, I think yours was like the most creative message, that sort of thing. There is also a speedier version for like 2-3 players where you don't have necessarily turns being the victim and getting your 15 cards, just everyone gets the 15 cards and can start crafting their message at the same time. And again, there are some points available for who got it right and who had like the best message that they sent. But that is what you are doing in Dying Message. On your turn as the victim, you're sending your message using as many of those 15 cards as you want to send the message, and then splat! You put your head down on the table, splatting down, making either a moan or a scream or a groan, and then it's on to like the detectives to work out who the murderer was. Straight away we have to jump into that message building element, and that is a whole heap of fun. And to be honest, it's fun from both sides of the table. It's fun when you are there crafting your message, trying to put the cards of various sort of shapes or symbols together in a sort of weird and wonderful way to convey a message. You're using these curves to make a cloud because it's raining, or you combine these shapes in a way that you think it's made a sharp object sort of thing, or a firefighter, fire hose, and different things like that, and you are crafting these illustrations. That's a lot of fun. And then once it's been crafted, it's a lot of fun looking at those and going, what are they trying to say? It's like one of those sort of great deduction-y games where you've got abstract artwork, and in this, you're like creating those abstract-y doodles from the message cards for then the people to sort of look at. It sort of does give me vibes of like a Dixit or Mysterium, where you are giving cards out or using them as clues, and you look at it and you go, huh, interesting, what are they trying to communicate? And then you're looking at the different suspects and trying to deduce, well, it's a round shape. Well, there's definitely nothing that they're talking about on their bit of blurb as a suspect about circles or anything like that. So I think we can discount them, and you try and sort of work it out and deduce whether you are doing that just on your own or talking it out loud cooperatively. There's also that fun aspect that you splat on the table. Included in the box there is this amazing bit of red felt. Now this I think is very sort of representative of this game, that it didn't need every aspect. It didn't necessarily need there to be letters to put next to the people, but it makes it a much simpler one when you're rolling the dice and having a look. Oh, I've rolled letter F, it's this character that's murdered me. You don't need this bit of felt, the blood splatter, to put on the table under you to be the murder victim. But it's just a little bit of extra fun that sort of the game provides. To be fair, out of all the components, and I include this red felt in there, the bit in the box that I find least useful are the point scoring tokens. This is 100% one of those sort of party games that we've just enjoyed playing and, well, forgetting about the points. Even in the cooperative mode, the points are very much sort of, well, who did best, did people get it right, and that sort of thing. And you know what? Yeah, you can do points with that. But we've enjoyed it just going round the table and then being like, yeah, should we go for another round of the table? Because we've been having fun making those messages and, well, dying. The people that aren't necessarily going to enjoy this game are the ones that don't like being put on the spot. They don't like having their creativity put under a spotlight, because when you are the victim, it is all on you. You need to have a look at those suspects, determine what your sort of murderer actually has on their card, what are they hinting towards, what is their little bit of information saying, and then creating out of the quite cool, fun shapes on those message cards, creating something that looks like whatever they're talking about, be it a gavel for the judge, be it a rain cloud for the meteorologist, whatever it is, you need to create that. And some people will love that aspect. I certainly do. Other people that don't like the spotlight being on them, like, oh, I'm not 100% sure it's gonna look right. Those are the sort of people that I think will come into the game and not give it their all, and probably not enjoy it as much as others. There is one aspect of Dying Message that does let the game down, and to be honest, the only way of doing it is that speedy mode where everyone is making their sort of message at the same time. And I think that's probably a way that you're going to really enjoy the game, because otherwise there is some downtime here in each and every round. The rulebook even suggests, while the sort of victim player is making their message, for the rest of the people to almost leave the table. We sort of used it as a time to, you know, go and grab a drink, a coffee, scroll on your phone for a minute. But even though it is only a minute, there is that sense of, we're playing a party game, but for a minute I'm just gonna scroll on my phone. And that just takes you out of the experience waiting for that message to be crafted. Like I say, with that speedy variant where, oh, we're all getting 15 cards and we can make our message at the same time, you don't necessarily have that. But in the sort of just standard competitive or cooperative modes, when it's, oh, it's this player's turn, there is that minute of downtime as they're crafting their message. And there's also the awkwardness of, I can't look at the person too much because they might be trying to read sort of murderer suspects. They're looking at those cards, and I don't want to necessarily look, and they keep glancing at a particular one and it gives it away. So just go into it knowing that there is some downtime, but the message crafting is fun for that person, and it's fun once the message has been crafted. When it comes to replayability, I think there is replayability in the box, but maybe not an endless amount. The message cards are fantastic. They are double-sided, so you have so much variety there, and simply swapping a few of those in and out each time, or just flipping them over for the next person, that's going to give you plenty of variety of the shapes to make up your messages. The suspects, however, the way they're worded is fantastic the first time you play them, but the second time someone comes up as the murderer, then it starts to slip down a little bit. And what I mean by that is, let's take the judge as an example. It specifically mentions that someone's stolen their gavel, and I made I think, personally, quite a good message that showed a box with a cross on it, and then on the other one, the box had a gavel-like thing being banged on it. I was surprised at my own creativity and actually being able to make that. But if that judge came up again as the murderer, it would be really hard for someone not to just try and recreate the drawing or message that I'd made. If the wording had been they'd lost one of their judge items, so, you know, one person might make a gavel, another person might make the wig that, like, the English barristers or judges wear, those sorts of things, I think there might be that sort of extra level of replayability that you kind of lose if that same person comes up again. Now, the twist to this is that's only if you're always playing with the same people. And there is a chunky deck of 30 different suspects, and really, you only need to swap out the one murderer each time, so you've got a lot of variety there. I just think the way they're worded, the first time you read them and that is the murderer, you come up with something, and it's quite hard a second time, unless you're playing with brand new people, for them not to come up with the same clue as last time. But overall, what do I think of Dying Message? This is definitely one of those party games that, for us, we completely ignored the scoring and just enjoyed coming up with those messages. Splatting on the table with that red felt, it's a lot of fun creating the message, and then once it's created, so there's that bit of downtime, actually the detective players coming in and going, what is this message trying to represent? The first time you go through that deck of people, you are going to come up with, hopefully, really good clues, and you'll be able to save them, and they won't be, unfortunately, lost victims. And, you know what? That's really fun. We really did enjoy it. The only issue is, I think once you've had most of those characters as the murderers, I think that's when the replayability starts to drop down again, unless you're able to get this out with multiple groups who might do different styles of clues and different things for the same murderer person. I just wish the wording on those suspects was just a little vaguer when it started talking about items. But there certainly is a lot of fun to be had. I can definitely recommend you playing Dying Message. Let me know in the comment section below if you've played it. Do you agree or disagree? Do let me know in the comment section below. And if you have, and you were the victim, did you manage to find peace, or were you a lost hope? And until next time, well, have a message-filled, hopefully not dying-filled, good day.